I'm your host, Kim Jacobs, better known as the Balance Doctor. And all of our guests that come on, they're either people that have overcome some tremendous odds in their own lives as they balance this thing called life, or they're experts and they're here to share tips and strategies that will help you better balance and manage your life. Grab your virtual seats and let's get ready for some real, relevant, and relatable content on today's episode of The Kim Jacobs Show. Hello, everyone, and welcome to this episode of The Kim Jacobs Show. I am super excited to have you all here and honored to have Ethan A. Poetic. How are you, Ethan A. Poetic, over there?
I'm doing very well. I appreciate this opportunity to make an impact as we bridge the gap for mental health in other areas of life and humanity.
I am so glad that you have that philosophy at such a young age already. So as you can already tell everybody in your virtual seats, you want to grab your seats quickly, share the broadcast, let people know that we're talking with Ethan A. Poetic today. Now, Ethan is a young man that is a native of Coatesville, Pennsylvania. He also graduated from J.P. Caskey High School in Harrisburg Area Community College with an associate degree. He's very well educated, actually, and Miller's University with a bachelor's degree in speech, communications minor, broadcasting, and media. So he knows his things when it comes to media and lots of other accolades that we'll learn more about throughout today's broadcast. I do want to let you know that he's the CEO and founder of Ethan A. Poetic LLC, and his goal is to empower people towards overcoming adversity and hardship. So I'm so happy to have you here today. You're an interesting. When I was reading your story and you were talking about being here on the show, your story is nothing short of amazing and miraculous. But before we go into that, I'd love for you to just take us back and talk to us a little bit about your maybe some of your younger years and what Ethan was all about and who you came into this world being, and talk to us for a little bit.
I'm originally from coastal Pennsylvania. I remember like it was yesterday. I was born on a hot day on Saturday, and the guy I'm named after is Ethan Trowery. He is not my biological father, just a situation where both my parents were never together. My dad was already with somebody else, and he got another woman pregnant at the same time. And I have a sister that is 2 months younger than me, and she recently had a son. She also has a daughter, so she's a proud mom. I'm a proud uncle, and we have an older brother and many other siblings. Growing up in a single parent household, it has its disadvantages, regardless of whether you're receiving government benefits, because you're thinking $300 worth of food stamps is a lot, when the reality is you're just capping yourself. And, it's good to have those health benefits. Section 8, it's helpful for some people, but at the same time, you have to understand, do you want to depend on the government to pay your rent or create a legacy and pass down generational wealth and assets? That's what it's really about. Because the reason why some of us, people who are colored, minority, and whatever they want to label us, it goes back to the feminist movement. Not that I'm like stepping on anybody's toes. It's just some people, particularly some women, decide to choose the money, chose not to have a man inside the household. And now we look at a very big statistic of over 5 million households of single parents, women. And, it's not fair for a child not to be around his biological father or, a tight-knit community. It's just people still facing those challenges. And I had to overcome those challenges. I redefined the situation, not the situation defining me. Because out of all the 5 children my mom had, I'm the only one with a driver's license, 2 college degrees, 2 Pennsylvania Commonwealth citations from both the Republicans and Democrats, and it's for non-political reasons. And I recently was recognized at the Pennsylvania State Complex Capitol by Ishmael Smith Waddell. His mother is the late great Dr. Rita Smith Waddell, where she taught at Temple University and Mills University. I received the Award of Excellence and honored at the Capitol. I had numerous accolades that fill up my room, fill up a
Oh yeah.
living room, another room, had me do my biography several times, update my resume. And, when it comes to keynote speaking, which I do, I have to tell people serious inquiries only because I know my worth. I can certainly fill up the crowd. And more importantly, it's about giving you the results you want because that's going
That's
to be the goal. And my website's called ethanspeaks.com. I'm also a self-published author. This is my book.
I have your
So
book. Let me put it up for you. Hold on. I have it so that you don't even have to do it with the backdrop and stuff. Okay, there you are. It's
yeah,
the inspirational story of Ethan A. Poetic. You can get it at Amazon. You can get it all over wherever books are basically sold. You can get it, but you can definitely get it at ethanspeaks.com. And so let me make sure you know how you can actually access anything that
yep,
Ethan is working on.
that's my website.
Ethan,
I get contacted all the time, social media, text, phone calls, and basically, if you buy the book directly from me, I'll charge you for the soft cover or hardcover. I sign, autograph it,
that's what I was going to
and then
ask.
I
Are you
just
going to
charge you.
autograph it for us?
Oh yes, yes, I have to do that with the pen,
That's
the
good. That's
Sharpie.
good.
But the key thing is I'm a reputable brand. I'm a reputable person, and you just pay me through either Cash App, Venmo, Zelle, PayPal. Once that process is received on my part, that's when I just
Get you the material.
go to
You're
the
going in
post
and out.
office.
You're going in and out, so that's the
Oh,
only reason I'm
oh, okay,
interjecting.
sorry.
But you
Oh,
said pay it through Ethan Speaks. If you go to ethanspeaks.com, you'll be able to get all of the instructions to be able to purchase the book. He will autograph it for you, and you definitely want to hear his amazing journey. And let me ask you, you said growing, because this is a show too about how people are balancing different aspects of their lives. So you really might be able to inspire some people that are from either single parent households, and they're trying to figure out how do you still go about dealing with extra siblings and managing all of that, because it's coming as a kind of like, okay, I have somebody 2 months younger than me that's now my sibling, but you're a proud uncle. So any advice for those that may be in
uh,
situations like you?
you have to be willing to look at the truth for what it is. My situation is just, it's not my fault or my siblings' fault that we were
No,
born out of wedlock.
no.
It is not our fault that some of us were born in disadvantaged backgrounds. It's the decision makers' results. And we have to understand that there is truth in getting to the root
Mm.
because
Truth
some
in getting
people,
to the root. Somebody type that. There's truth in getting to the root. And someone wanted to know, what is the cost of your book? So please make sure you address that as
you can
well.
email me that information. I don't like to talk about, too much of the
Oh,
pricing
well, on
on there.
Amazon it's
I'll just
public.
say,
So but
yeah, it is. To buy it from me, just you can just contact me. My email address, my business email, Ethan at ethanspeaks.com. That's through my website. Then it's also my social media, Ethan Poetic
right.
23 on Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat. Then on LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube, I'm Ethan Poetic. Yeah, it's just best to contact me through there. We can do
Okay, what's
business
your
there.
email one more time, Ethan? Say it again.
My business email is Ethan at ethanspeaks.com.
ethanspeaks.com. Okay, Ethan at ethanspeaks.com.
Yes,
Oh,
yeah, it's just I'd rather handle business, more behind the scenes instead of like during an interview. It's just
right.
professionalism.
I love
But
that.
we could definitely,
I love that.
yeah, I wish there was a chat box I can type it in.
No, it's not. It's the comment section. If you just want me to type it, you can put it in
Yes,
private chat, and then I'll put it in the comments, and it'll go across to
hi
everybody.
chat.
It's up to you.
Uh, Um,
I'll put it on the
yeah,
comment section for you all to see as well, everybody. But then I also have audio podcast listeners, so they'll be like, "We don't know
okay, that
what."
that works. Thank you. Um, well, part of the advice I can give you is, you gotta understand that I'm not putting somebody out there. I'm not judging no one. I'm just telling you my experience. It's just, can you imagine having a sibling live in a different county in a different household, and you're not able to see him as often?
Right. I
And you got
can't
siblings that
imagine
live
what that
with,
would feel like. That's why I want you to elaborate on it,
and
'cause
then you got siblings that live with you. We got the same mom, yet we got different dads. So we're
mm,
looking differently, facial expressions, how we speak, relate to each other. Yet we're this family. It
mm,
goes against what was originally designed for humanity. If you look at the African culture,
mm,
a boy is taught how to become a man as as a preteen, and part of that phase is leaving the hut when his mom wants him to stay. Because there's an emotional attachment with a woman and her children to
yes.
giving birth. When he goes through so much pain and have your end results of a child or children born, you're going to hold on to it near and dear.
Mm,
But eventually, as people enter different chapters in life, the relationship changes. And I learned this quote: the adult parent will always be the adult parent. It's just once that child becomes an adult, the parenting stops. You have to be more giving suggestions.
now that's something.
Maybe transition to the role of being a grand.
Yeah.
Yeah. But moving forward, it takes a village to raise a child. And here's the thing you have to understand: everyone has to do work, no matter how much money you make, whether you come from the poor, middle class, or high income class. You have to evaluate the people you're around the most, because eventually who you be around the most is who you're likely to become. And I learned this quote recently from TD Jakes. He said it takes 30 minutes to have a wedding, but 30 years to have a marriage. So marriage is a marathon, not a sprint. But also choose your partner wisely. Go through premarital counseling. Make sure you are your own list, not putting the list on somebody else. Don't ever be in someone's friend zone or placeholder, because you end up blocking your blessing. Um, the advice I could give you is this: you can't force someone to have a relationship with you, because eventually, some people go their own ways. Find a mentor, gravitate towards positive people, because your vibe is your tribe. That's my advice for now. Where'd she go? Hey, nice to hear you, Darren Swan or Swan. Hmm. Hello, Ella. Hey, nice to meet you. I will keep going. Um, I'm still waiting for the host to get back on. I just texted her tech person, and they're working on the technical difficulties right now. Is there more? Is it more? I don't charge more for an autograph copy. You know, I sign the autograph copies when people buy it from me personally, whether it's in person or online. I sign it because that's something that's an etiquette thing to do. Because I gotta make sure I turn this autobiography into memorabilia. Because the reader deserves, I mean, the reader who's supporting the brand, the author, the sub-publisher, me, deserves to have that outright. Plus, you worked hard for your money. I gotta make sure you get a signature. You can look at situations like Michael Orr. He signs his autobiography. You can also look at Dr. Dre, Eminem, 50 Cent. They signed their autographs. I had to learn from the best. I had to learn from those who went from coming from disadvantaged backgrounds to now giving back to the community and creating other schools to help empower people so they have a better start than how they came up.
Excellent. Excellent.
I'm glad you're
So
back.
I'm back, and I appreciate you just continuing on and the professional that you are. So I greatly appreciate it. Listen, I think that it's important for people to know that your story is one that is due to circumstances and situations, but it's one that you've overcome. So you've actually taken that and made it a positive for the direction of your life. So I love the inspiration that I'm hearing from you. And when we come back, I want to take a commercial break. But when we come back, I would love to be able to hear about it's something that happened mathematically. And it was a 99%, 1% situation. And I would love for you to talk about that some when we come back right after this break. Is that okay?
Yes.
All right. We'll be right back, everyone, right after this break.
My father had 4 of his fingers amputated in a workplace accident. It was the first injured individual I represented, and I knew I had to win that case. When someone walks into my office and they've been injured, I know what they're going through. If you've been injured at work with Hunter and Everett. We've got the experience, so let us help you.
All right.
Yep, we're back from a commercial break.
Yeah, we're back from the commercial break, and glad to have Ethan A. Poetic here. Actually, he's preparing for a big thing that's happening in a few minutes, so he's he's moving and shaking over there. But talk to us, if you will, back on a very important date that happened for you mathematically on March 19th, 2011. Talk to us about that moment.
I remember this day like it was yesterday. Basically, it's a nice Saturday. I'm helping out with this nonprofit organization that was called Children Deserve a Chance Foundation, now rebranded to Tyler Prep. The CEO and, well, I'll say former CEO, and continue to be like more of a founder and a board member. His name is Jordan Steffi. His program was designed to help people become a better version of themselves through diversity, inclusion, and his organization wanted to help raise money for his organization by selling Dewsbury watches. We did it at a Meta Heights Golf Club. They were very gracious to allow us to be there inside the rooms for several hours as we exceeded the goals. And I'll leave with my family. It's my aunt, her fiance, who's her uncle, 2 of her grandchildren in the back, and then there's me. And then we're driving on Route 30, passing the outlets. I remember seeing a Hess gas station, maybe an Olive Garden. There's other places involved, like the American Music Theater, and then there's shopping outlets, and there's clothing outlets. It's like a place where you can do all your shopping, for your wedding anniversary. And next thing you know, my life changes. Can you imagine, when you see someone in a car accident, you see all this debris of a car crumbled. You see the ambulance, the fire department, the police taking the report, getting the yellow tape. Then you got the tow truck coming around towing the car. And then you have people's schedules backed up because of this one incident that's forever changing. I see that to be an opening line of, I am part of that mathematical equation. You may not like math in high school, college, but it's very important to understand this. Can you imagine facing a 99% chance of death versus 1% chance of life?
No, I cannot imagine that. And nobody, when you're saying this, no matter how empathetic people are in situations that we hear about, we can only hear about it and be like, oh, oh my goodness, I'm praying for you, generic stuff, until you're actually in the situation yourself. So you being in that moment, what was it like for you?
Honestly, I don't remember the car accident. It's a situation where it took courage for me to do a lot of self-discovery.
Okay.
Looking at the newspaper article, seeing how the car is cut in half by the jaws of life, then looking at the television footage, from WJGL, which is a NBC affiliate, I believe. And looking at the fire department, then there's the ambulance, then there's traffic being directed, there's the yellow tape. Then, I just don't remember the car accident because the injuries I suffered, from a black eye to a injured wrist. Then two of the main ones was a concussion where, hey, I'm done. And then a torn aorta from the seatbelt. It's like a double-edged sword where it saved my life, but then put my life in jeopardy because the seatbelt fractured my collarbone, which hit the artery. And the only person dies within 3 to 5 minutes. And it just didn't happen for me. Here I am in Paradise, Pennsylvania, and the nearest hospital is 30 to 35 minutes away.
Oh my gosh.
I should have died on the ambulance ride to the hospital, but for some reason, it just didn't happen. So this guy got contacted, who's a doctor named Dr. Watella, and he stopped what he's doing with his family, drives immediately to the Lancaster General Hospital. They're prepping the surgery room while my ambulance is going to the hospital. He's driving to the ambulance. And this pastor said he did a prayer. And after that, it's other people's hands, from the nurses to the people who assist in the surgery. And they thought I died on the operating table because they finished the surgery and there goes a pulse. And a woman cries, I'll get told, hysterically. But instead, they decided to see if I wake up. Put me in the IC unit. Day 1 pass. I'm just using my imagination, leading up to the conclusion.
Wow. Now,
I see.
But what you're describing.
I don't wake up.
Say it again.
What'd you say?
Oh, I just said what you're describing is it's a complete out-of-body experience, is what I'm hearing. And you're literally there, but you're having an out-of-body moment because everybody else is working to help save your life is what's happening. But you really, like you said, you're not even aware of what's going on, and you're looking at it later, reading it as if you're one of us, type of learning your own story. And that's pretty. I've never heard it even put like how you're putting your own scenario and your own life. It's a miracle. It's a miracle happening on your behalf, and you have nothing to do with it, really, because everybody's going to help you get through to this other side. That is a bizarre way of even thinking about it. Go ahead and say some more what you're saying. This is just amazing.
What ended up happening eventually is I wake up twice. One is more of those like moments where people said I woke up more on a subconscious sense, more like cloud 9, being on all those medicines and everything else, because I had IVs in both my veins, had this pulse. That's the first time I woke up. The second time I woke up was like looking around, like wondering, where am I at and why am I here? And then I see the woman at the entrance door, and she's crying tears of joy that I made it. And that's what I declared a walking, living miracle.
That's there's an echo because I'm on both of these devices. So I'm going to get off of this one and just do this. But yeah, that's nothing short of miraculous that God would make that even possible, that you are here. And then you're on the road to recovery. And as you're on the road to recovery, it takes, I'm sure, a village for people coming in and supporting you and helping you. Were your family members very supportive during that time frame, or did you have hospital staff? Who was like your support system during your road to recovery?
It was a combination of everyone, being on over 30 prayer lists during that whole surgery situation, Then looking at all the social media comments.
Wow.
And most of the people in the medical field didn't even know who I was. I'm being helped by complete strangers who are trained and certified. The rehab was a long and daunting process. Learn how to walk again. Some people have an easy thing of picking up grocery bags. I was struggling to pick up a bean bag. And then there's also the balancing beam, like just putting one foot in front of the other. Then there's also speech therapy. I'm talking about real speech therapy. Then there's also just doing these neck exercises. Then I got put on a feeding tube because my larynx got paralyzed. And here I am severely underweight on this feeding tube. Then there's a special anointing praying for me to eat again. And after going through all that journey for 5 whole months, I finally was able to eat again, starting with applesauce, soft food, and eventually medium soft to harder food. And then eventually the doctor pulled out the feeding tube on the count of 2 instead of the count of 3.
Oh
I
my
was
God.
I was in the fetal position for quite some time, just on that hospital bed. And then when I got up, I felt like a new person, but there was still more to the journey of my road to recovery, because there's a lot of things that happen behind the scenes that I'm not going to tell, but I'll tell you it's in my book.
It's in
And
the book, everybody. Let me put the
yeah,
book up.
it's all I can say is, not that I'm embarrassing anybody, it's just you find out a person's true colors when you make
Yeah.
your comeback from your setback.
Yes.
And not everyone that is there for you goes with you. Like Tyler Perry said recently in one of his interviews, if you have a boat that can take you to an island, you can only take but a few people with you. Because if you bring too many people with you, eventually some people might try to sabotage you by trying to sink the boat and putting holes in it. Okay, they don't want to see you grow. They don't want to see you evolve. But the problem is they don't see the vision that somebody else has for you.
That's right.
What their vision is, I'm so comfortable being around you, I don't want you to go. But I realize, in life, like Snoop Dogg said, you start off here, but as you start, how I say this politely, basically, once you start letting go of the excess baggage, people are leeching, swindling you, people were trying to depend on you with these sob stories. You see how that gap is going?
Mm-hmm.
Then you take care of your mental health, physical, mental, trauma, all that. Then you get a good job. Then you get a college degree. Now you can help people, but the ultimate thing is they gotta rise up with you. If
You
it's meant
better.
to be, it's there. If not, they'll be here. And
So,
it's not, it's not that you're judging someone. It's just when you put in the work
that's right.
organically, you start to separate yourself from people. But at the same time, remember, in my situation, regardless of how many times I get recognized, have accolades, awards, and kids coming up to me in the grocery store, hugging me by the leg, then I got to look at their parent like, I got to introduce myself to that person. You got to remember this, regardless of how, things look spectacular in my life, I go through things as well. The difference is we all have to be willing to fight things with courage.
That's right.
Because our ancestors rose against the slave masters. Our ancestors made sure we became their dream. And moving forward, we all have a dash, whether it's on an obituary or a headstone. There's a stories to tell.
That's
right. You get to determine which chapter you want to enter in your life. You get to determine what type of narrative do you want. And more importantly, when you choose your partner and how you create your family, you're the person choosing how you want to be remembered. Because there's consequences for someone who wants to be an estranged father. There's also consequences for mothers who want to make bad choices. But also remember, you can always redeem yourself in humility to become exalted, but it
That's
takes
right.
work. When you do the work, you remember that feeling if you're tempted to do that stuff again, that these are the consequences I already endured. This is how my relationships faltered.
Mm-hmm.
And eventually you move past the feeling and think about something else that's more reliable for a better outcome.
Well, you are wise beyond your years. I'm so grateful that God allowed you to be here on this earth to continue to share the wisdom and your experience and everything that you've gone through, because it's going to help so many people that are tuning in right now. When we come back from the commercial break, we're going to take some of your comments and pop them up on the screen. We're talking with Ethan A. Poetic, and he is the author. This is him in the aftermath right there, Ethan A. Poetic. And you can get a copy of his book right at Ethan Speaks. Let me make sure we put that up. EthanSpeaks.com. EthanSpeaks.com. So we're going to take a quick commercial break and come right back and hear more from Ethan A. Poetic. We'll be right back. All right, everyone, we're back and we're talking with, again, Ethan A. Poetic. Mackenzie, backstage, if you would pop some of the comments up. It's been quite a few that's come in, and I want to make sure we acknowledge them. Okay. And it says, she is back. Yes, yes. Okay. All right. Glad to have you. Wow. People are saying to your story. Dennis said to your story. And love the honesty and your motivation. So thank you so much for that honesty. And I'm assuming with you having 1% chance of life, you have no other way to be but to be honest and say what you're saying. Ethan, you did an awesome job of healing. Look at God, what he did in your life. Who do you attribute your healing to ultimately? Is there like a source that you really give all praise and honor to?
It's a comment. Oh, I wasn't sure if we were allowed to use the G word on the show or not. God,
You can
okay.
Any day.
God, the first and foremost, because without him, you gotta understand, he can override things faster than a judge is serving on federal court, Supreme Court, magistratal court, state court. Because that 99% may look big, but all God needed was the faith of a mustard seed of 1% to override that 99%. That's you realize that 1% is all he needed to just perform the miracle. Do you realize all he needed is 1% to have someone's life continue with a purpose, continue to grow, evolve? Because of that situation and the help of other people, from the medical field to other people behind the scenes who are the unsung heroes. That's how I'm able to become the person I am, but I've also was able to pay it forward. Quick story. I was able to get help with his driver's license with a married couple. I started out with a 95 Ford Taurus, helped some of my family members get their driver's license. And then eventually it was time for me to upgrade to a 2016 Honda Civic back in spring of 2016. Yeah. And this woman named such and such, she drove me up to the dealership and she just asked me what type of car I'm going to get. I said, I'm not sure what type of car I'm going to get. So we go there, did a test drive of the brand new red Honda Civic 4-door sedan. And once we did that test drive and came back, I told the dealer, hey, I want that car. Start the paperwork. Do the background check. And then she said, what type of car you want? I said, that one. She said, no way. I said, yes way.
Yes
didn't pull
way.
out her
Yes,
cell
they
phone.
type that. Yes way.
Yeah, as soon as she didn't pull out her cell phone, start taking pictures of me and share with all her friends and her fiance now, husband now, and she put me on blast in a good way. At the time, I did not post it on social media because I didn't want to make it seem like I'm trying to do an Uber Lyft service.
Right, right.
Yeah, yeah. But you have to understand, there's also more to the story. I ended up taking a picture going back to Coastville and walking the Coastville sign. And as I'm going back to my car, I hear someone yelling for me. And there at this red light, I see my strange father. And
Oh,
he saw me, he saw the
dear.
new car. Yeah, he saw me, he saw the new car, and he couldn't believe it. His mouth is open. He's just like, wow. And hey, I popped the trunk, started the car. He knew his minds. And the moral of the story is that there were people who told me I should have just drove to his house and showed him what he missed out on.
No.
Because originally his wife told me while we were having lunch together, oh, he didn't want to help me get my life back together.
Hmm.
I'm not saying to put someone down, feel sorry for me. I'm telling you the story. The moral of the story is turn your negativity into positivity. Turn
Yeah.
that discouragement into encouragement. Because eventually a person's going to start eating the words for breakfast, lunch, dinner, maybe a midnight snack. Then they got to get on Obamacare and get a root canal.
Well, you okay?
Because
Okay. Look, the views expressed, Mackenzie. You got to put that up there for a second. The views expressed are obviously that of our guest, and we're not. It doesn't always reflect that of the show. So we're not saying that that's his own personal opinion of what's going on over there. Okay, but I do want to make sure people know what's next for you, Ethan, because there's so many things that have transpired since that incident. And let me, you can take the comment down. Let me put this up. A walking miracle. When we're talking about looking, you can take the comment down, Mackenzie, backstage. When we're talking about a walking signs, wonders, and miracles, we have that right now with Ethan being here on this show today. So if you've never ever seen a miracle happen, you can say you've witnessed one today. And so what's next? What's next for you, Ethan?
What's next? Let's see. Finalize the audio version of my book. It's going to be available on all major platforms. I read it myself. I'm just waiting for the copyright letter to come to me. It was time to put out the sneak peek video with the pre-sale order link. Then make a documentary. Do more of the keynote speaking events in colleges, private schools, conferences, panels, private schools, charter schools, you name it, or private venues. Again, serious inquiries, as in, I know my worth. All you got to do is go onto my website, ethanspeaks.com, fill out the consultation form. We can go from there. Just fill out the form. And after that, I review it. My mentor reviews it. And I just make sure everything aligns. We do like a 10 to 15-minute consultation. Then after that, hey, if it's good for everyone involved, I require a security deposit and a signed contract because I'm going to reserve that day for you, that time period. I'm taking time out of life to drive or travel to you directly. And it's a serious inquiry. I take what I do serious because there's a reason why I'm still alive. There's a reason why I'm still here and continue to evolve, because the kids see themselves in me as I see myself in them.
Yeah. And if any parent today that's watching this show on how we're balancing our lives as busy women and entrepreneurs and moms, some have young children, some have tweens and teens and even adult children, what advice would you give to people that you say you're an example of these to these young people? What words of encouragement would you give to young people today?
We have to learn our roots, the traditional values of, let's start off, I'll start off with the men. Learn how to respect our women, not get caught up in the scene of certain music, not get caught up in entertainment and glorifying certain things that are not healthy. we have to understand as men that our mental health is important. We may have been told as kids not to cry, man up, but not every kid is designed to man up, because now you're forcing somebody to be somebody they're not. Find your mentor, find a coach for sports, find a public official for resources. If your town or area doesn't have the resources, all right, relocate to where the resources are at. You can travel there, and you can definitely research it on social media. As for women, I'll just say we have to learn more traditional values, learn how to cook for a man, because the key to a man's heart is through his stomach.
Okay.
Second, when it comes to choosing men that you want to date seriously, bring a man that you can trust, that can like vent out the person before you even meet him, because that's part of the reason why men back in the day be like, you want to be with my daughter, we gotta have this conversation.
Right.
And that's gonna weed out a lot of people who are up to no good. But moving forward, as always, research your health products, whether it's with makeup, cosmetology. Always take care of your mental health all year round. Understand your trigger points. Understand, there's a reason why we're acting sometimes emotional, sometimes
That's
too
right.
logic. We gotta have, now I'm speaking more collectively as a human being, that we also have to maintain a balance and understand our family history, even if it's an ugly truth, because that ugly truth can turn into something better. You can look at my ugly truth. Hey, I went from a near fatal
Yes.
car accident. I wasn't supposed to be here, but here I am. Now I turn that ugly truth into inspiration,
That's
motivation,
right.
and I inspire people just by overcoming. When you become
You're
an
doing way more
overcomer,
than inspiring. I know you're just dropping so many nuggets, so that's why I'm just letting you go. Talk and talk and
yeah,
talk. You are just dropping pearls of wisdom nuggets that can change people's lives forever. And Daron says this is a wise. Ethan is wise. He is wise. And people are really gleaning from what you're sharing here today and taking away some significant things that we can apply to our lives. I thank you for being here today. I know you have this event happening in the next few minutes, and I want to honor that. But I just want to give you an opportunity to have a closing comment and tell people one
yes.
more time how they can stay connected with you.
You can connect with me on my website, ethanspeaks.com. Then my social media handles are Ethan Speaks. No. That's the website. My social media handles on
But
Snapchat, TikTok, Instagram, Ethan Poetic 23. Then on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, I'm Ethan Poetic.
I don't have
On
all of
Twitter,
that
I'm
typed,
Ethan
but
B23.
if you look up Ethan A Poetic, you're gonna find this man somewhere because I'm on a different device.
Yeah, I'll say in closing, I look forward to hearing back from the audience. Connect with me, network with me. We can bridge the gap. Listen to TDJs, listen to Eric Thomas, listen to Les Brown, and make sure you always become a better version of yourself. Because I'll leave you with this story. There's this married couple that met this woman that's famous since she was an actor, and she told them, no, they told her that we know each other for 25 years. That famous actor looked at them and said, "You're still learning about each other, because no one's the same if they're evolving from their 20s to the 30s and 40s and 50s and 60s, because our body sometimes changes." And just be willing to be open-minded to learning new things, to evolve, because in life we gotta take advantage of it. We got to bridge the gap in our communities. We have to bridge the gap with the corporate world, bridge the gap with the nonprofit sectors, so that everyone can understand there's more than enough room for everyone to eat and succeed.
Well, you couldn't have ended on a better note. We're going to take a commercial break, everyone, to give Ethan a chance to transition out. We'll be right back. Thank you, Ethan, for being here today on the Kim Jacobs Show. You've made my heart so glad. And everyone will be right back right after this commercial break. Wow. What a blessing.
Why learn about health when you can experience it? Experience it in beautiful Florida in February 2024. Join us for 3 days of integrative and intensive health and healing education and empowerment with the expertise of the following Healthopedia author, speaker, and facilitators. The world-renowned homeopath and acupuncture physician, Dr. James Marinakis, 4-decade health coach and holistic nutritionist, Dr. Joe D. Bear, and others such as Kimberly Meredith, Dame Doria Cordova, Rex Sykes, Dr. Gary Sanchez, Jamie Kerr, Serena Brown-Travis, and more. Experience daily morning walking and yoga, interactive participation, panel discussions, and more for your own epiphany of health. Get your tickets now.
All right, everyone, we are back, and what a wonderful story to hear. Not just a story, it's his life. Ethan A. Poetic, for him to come on here and share at the level that he did and poured out his soul. Any of us should be inspired to know that if he can do what he's doing and have only 1% chance to live, and then he takes that and catapults it and turns it into who God created him to be, to still go on and salt this earth, is nothing short of amazing. So I hope his story today inspired each of you to be able to say, what am I going to do with what he has given me? How am I going to run this race? How am I going to make my birth date is a given. My death date, we don't know when it's going to happen, but that dash in between that he talked about, what are we going to do to let that speak about our lives, the legacy that we'll leave, the things that we'll do while we are assigned by God to make a difference on this earth? So I'm really inspired. I want to let you know you can stay connected with Dr. Joe D. Bear to learn more about the conference that she's referencing, 1-800-820-0584. And you can also visit drjod.com. Today's episode was also sponsored by attorney Charles Everidge with Hunter Everidge Law Firm. And I want to make sure you know that you can reach them at 704-457-5000. I also want you all to be aware that with Gabe's Heart Foundation, we are in the process of, we've actually been approved to get defibrillators, and we're excited about this initiative to be able to place some in different public spaces where young people congregate. So we have people that are sharing their stories and why they should receive these particular units. So also with operating expenses and things with Gabe's Heart, we want you to know that if you donate even down to like $9.50, this right here is Nonprofit Awareness Month. I'm not sure when you'll be watching this footage, but right now is Nonprofit Awareness Month. And we also have Giving Tuesday coming up. A donation of $9.50 is something that can go a long way. So even if you are able to donate $95 or you're able to donate $9,500, whatever it is that you would like to contribute to Gabe's Heart Foundation, you can visit gabesheartfoundation.org to be able to send any contribution of your choice. And the Cash App is $Gabe's Heart. All right, I just wanted to come back and say thank you all for tuning into today's episode. And let's see if any other comments or anything came in. Thank you for sharing your story, Ethan. Thank you so much. Wow. Ethan is chosen. Yes, he is a chosen vessel of God. And you know when you encounter somebody that not your average situation, somebody that this man is a godsend from heaven. God is shining his light on Ethan A. Poetic's life for a reason. And it's even just for right now, for us to all experience him and encounter him and hear the words of wisdom that he shared throughout today's broadcast is life changing. We could never be the same after experiencing what we heard from Ethan A. Poetic today. And if we are the same, then we didn't listen to what he was saying, because this man dropped some pearls and words of wisdom that are just life changing, life transforming. For parents that are dealing with children out of wedlock, we all, I actually, all of my children were in wedlock. But the thing is, those parents that's the case, you have to learn from what he said. Siblings that have siblings that are by other people, and siblings that have siblings that are within a few months apart, or whatever the case may be. Guess what? I know I got some strategies and tips from a younger man on even how to handle that. That is huge, what he was saying. So, anybody else, any takeaways in the studio audience? Something that maybe Ethan A. Poetic said that you would like to drop a comment, and I'll pop it up right quick. I see you saying thank you for sharing your story. Yes, I always listen to all of them. Wonderful, Mavis says. Ethan is wise, Dayron said. It takes a village, Dennis says. Look at you now. Look at you now, Ethan. Wow, on major media. Yes, I see you, Dennis, typing yes, way. And he can override things. Let's see. Wow. Ethan is chosen. Yes. Yes. And then I see Carlene's comment as well, and I wanted to pop that up. Let's see what Carlene's comment is. All right. Thank you for sharing your story, Ethan. All of your comments, we appreciate you all. He can override things. Amen. Continue to walk in your purpose, Ethan. These are all comments that's been coming in. We want to make sure that you have them on the footage as well. Yes, this is really some great. My mom is on and she's praying. And Lady Justine Hilliard said the angels of the Lord was watching over him for sure. God was with him in that accident. Only God can do it. When people say that in a generic blanketed way, but you have 1% chance of living, you know that only God can do that, because he could have been pronounced dead multiple times, and people could have walked away and said, that's it. He's not going to be here. But instead they still, that's why I love the paramedics and the hospital staff that would, they give their soul. They give everything to trying to keep that person alive. I don't think I've ever witnessed or heard of a situation where the paramedics just, oh, well, it is what it is. I've never encountered anybody that's emergency personnel that has that philosophy, or first responders, or anybody so that deals with the human being of being able to determine if they can have life on this earth or not. I am so proud of any type of emergency personnel and hospital personnel that gives at that level, chaplains and surgeons and physicians, all of you all. I'm just grateful. Let's see. Ethan, you did an awesome job of hosting while Kim was off the screen. Great comment. Yes. Loving the honesty and the motivation. That's amazing. Yeah, I'm big on it. You know what? I don't feel like you make any excuses. If something happens on one situation, have a backup situation and get right back on there and make it work. And that's what happened today. I just made it back and made it work. And that's a good thing. You want to be able to go to plan B, C, D, whatever plan you need to be able to make it all work. All right, everybody, listen. You got the show. Yeah, I see all of your comments, and thank you. Keep going, Ethan. Your story will empower others who are going through similar situations. Okay, and then you asked about the book, and truth is getting to the root of the matter. All right, so you all had some phenomenal comments and input. Thank you all so much. And keep in mind that you all are the key behind the Kim Jacobs Show. In order for us to be able to even have the show come on daily like this, we need contributions from community members and from viewers like yourself. So I know the other day I had a guest on and he started sending shout outs, and people were sending cash apps. So I was like, okay. So make sure you all know that you can cash app to $ Kim Jacobs Inc. Or you can do paypal.me/Kim Jacobs Inc. Or you can also Venmo, or you can mail a check, whatever, whatever works. All right, everybody, listen, I'm so glad that you tuned into today's episode of the Kim Jacobs Show. We'll be right back here tomorrow at 11 o'clock AM Eastern Standard Time. We have great shows lined up for you all week. And so make sure you're in your virtual seats, and you're going to be in for a treat every single day. Enjoy your families and get ready for a wonderful holiday season, and love on people. Put all of the issues aside and just really genuinely have a great time. Can't there be just a day where it's like, just we're at peace? Everybody's just going to have a good old country time, right? I want that to be the case for you and your family this holiday season. All right. Look forward to seeing you tomorrow right here at 11 o'clock a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Make sure you all stay connected with Ethan, ethanspeaks.com. ethanspeaks.com. Have a great day, everybody. We'll see you at 11 tomorrow. Thank you for tuning in to today's episode of The Kim Jacobs Show and for being in the virtual studio audience. Your presence truly does make a difference, and I look forward